So, Paul, is there a chance here that we get Drake Maye week 1?
I do not believe so. You said, can you call it a competition or controversy? I mean, you can probably characterize it any way you want. I don't really think it's been a true competition in the sense of the word. I think everything that Alex Van Pelt just said about Maye recently is true. I think since the game, he has been on a consistently upward trajectory, and he's getting better every day. I think he looks more and more comfortable. I don't know what that's going to mean in terms of how long it will take him to become the starter. If we're comparing skill sets between Jacoby Brissett and Drake Maye, it's a no contest. Maye blows him away. But you do have to factor in the stuff that Van Pelt talked about in terms of knowledge and of the system, the NFL game, reading defenses, being able to make adjustments and checks at the line, pre-snap reads, all of that stuff. A 9-year veteran obviously is going to be far more advanced than a rookie coming into the league. So I think Jacoby Brissett will start against Cincinnati. Mayo said that he would probably know who that would be Monday or Tuesday. Didn't necessarily say he would share that with us. But at every step along the way, he has said that Jacoby Brissett is QB1 and that there's a competition. So I don't really look at anything as really having changed much.
Should he be QB1?
Yeah, probably to start. It's kind of uninspired, and I just feel like I kind of fall into the camp that, even if a rookie isn't quite ready, he can benefit from the experience on the field more so than just sitting around watching it. Now, I understand there's guys that have succeeded both ways. So there's no one way to do it. I don't have a huge problem with not starting him week 1. But I also have no illusions that you're not starting in week 1 because you think it's better for the team. You're not starting in week 1 because you just don't think Drake Maye is ready to play at an NFL level yet, so you want to make sure you're protecting the rookie, not necessarily because you think, well, Brissett gives us a better chance to win or anything like that. That's, to me, secondary.
I do wonder when we kind of look at the way that they've handled Drake Maye right now, if he's being held back because they think he's not ready or the coaching staff isn't ready. And what I mean by that is I look at, Gerard Mayo and his experience, and the one quarterback that he's seen was Mac Jones. And that quarterback gets ruined because his confidence gets completely shot in year 2. Turns out benching a quarterback on Monday Night Football, not the best for his confidence, right? So we saw his confidence get completely ruined in year 2 with the way that he was handled with Bill Belichick. I look at Alex Van Pelt, first-year offensive coordinator in terms of play calling and everything that's on his plate, has a comfort level with Jacoby Brissett that he doesn't with a rookie quarterback. And I just wonder if Drake Maye's actually being held back because the coaching staff kind of wants to get sort of some comfort level in terms of where they're at before they drop Drake Maye into this situation, rather than Drake Maye not necessarily being ready. And I think a lot of that goes back to the first preseason game, Paul, with like the limited snaps there. I don't know if there was ever an opportunity here for Drake Maye to actually go and take this job the way that we talk about Mac Jones taking the job from Cam Newton in his rookie year.
Yeah, so I think that's interesting. And, I want to start with the Mac Jones part.
Yeah.
Because I think there's a couple of different things you touched on. And I think you make a good point. The problems for Mac Jones came not by playing too soon.
No.
It came with, in my opinion, to the decision to put a defensive coordinator in charge of his offense.
Again, turns out not a great idea.
Mac didn't like it.
Yeah.
He questioned it. That, to me, led to the rift between the coach and the quarterback, which you saw throughout that offseason heading in. That was, if you remember back, that was sort of the time period where it became noteworthy that Bill Belichick didn't refer to Mac Jones by name for a long period of time.
Yep.
That's when it started. Because I think Mac Jones had the, quote-unquote temerity to question Bill Belichick's decision to put a defensive coordinator in charge. Why are we doing this?
Right.
It wasn't because he played too soon. That's not what he got ruined by. He got ruined by some coaching decisions thereafter and, in my opinion, not being good enough.
Yeah.
But, I think those two things went hand in hand. But I just think it's important to remember it wasn't because he played right away. Because his initial playing time, he was fine.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think it was anything special. I don't think it was ever as good as it was made out to be, but he didn't get ruined by the experience of playing as a rookie. And, you fast forward, to what you're talking about with the coaches, and I think there might be some validity to that. Like, Alex Van Pelt has been around for a while. He's never really had this opportunity where he's the offensive coordinator in charge of everything. Like, Drake Maye called him the head coach of the offense. So he's largely responsible for game plans, play calling, and developing the quarterbacks. It would kind of stand to reason he's going to side with the guy he knows a little bit more. And again, I don't have a huge problem with that. If Drake Maye is not ready to play, if they don't feel he's ready to play, I don't have a huge problem with that.
I mean, the other thing with it, too, and I do think that the coaching staff plays a factor in terms of Drake Maye seeing the field. I've kind of come around to the thinking, though, that if Drake Maye truly is going to be this franchise quarterback for the Patriots, holding him out for the first 4 weeks or whatever it winds up being is not going to ruin Drake Maye.
No.
There is potential here if you play him too early that it can. Now, I also tend to lean more towards if a guy actually can play, he's going to figure it out sort of regardless of the way. I think
that's kind of how I feel. That's why personally, selfish me, I don't care about, the Patriots as much as my enjoyment. I'd want him to play week 1.
Yeah,
because I feel like that. If he's any good, you're not going to ruin him.
And that goes back to the Mac Jones stuff you were talking about. That rookie year for Mac Jones, to your point, it kind of reached the ceiling in terms of, number one, you dropped him into an offense where you spent a ton of money in the offseason, right? Surrounded him with some weapons that were good and some that turned out not to be so good. But you also had a stable situation, an offensive coordinator that put him in a position to be successful. And then it obviously fell off a cliff year 2. And I think you found out that, wait a second, this kid can't necessarily handle adversity the way that you want your franchise quarterback to be able to handle that. But with Drake Maye, I do think to some extent we kind of overblow and oversell. All right, can you handle this guy properly and turn him into a franchise quarterback? I think Patrick Mahomes, if he played his rookie year, was going to wind up being pretty good regardless, right? I don't think the redshirt year for Patrick Mahomes was the difference maker for him.
I went on a minor rant about that earlier in the week with Tony and Jim. Yeah, I hear that. Listen, there's a lot of examples of guys who sat and benefited from it.
Yes.
I don't think that's a good one. Because technically, yes, Mahomes did sit, and he was really good, in year 2. I think he would have been really good in year 1. He played one game in year 1 and ripped it up.
Yeah.
All the reports out of Kansas City from, the veteran Chiefs were that he was killing it in practice. He was, destroying their first-team defense the whole year. I would argue, as long as we're going to argue things that we don't know because they didn't happen, I would argue that they cost themselves a potential championship.
Damn, missed opportunity.
Because he could have gotten the experience he needed in year 1 and maybe fallen short and then won it all in year 2 when he, by the way, admittedly, still didn't really know how to read defenses and got shut out in the first half of the AFC Championship game against the Patriots before lighting it up once he figured out what they were doing defensively in the second half. Maybe he doesn't get shut out in the first half had he had a whole year, additional experience to sort of learn and understand the nuances of coverages and whatnot. So I would argue, as long as we're arguing things that are unprovable, I think they cost themselves a title by sitting him.
Hey, if you like that clip, check out more videos from Zolak and Bertrand right here. For more Patriots analysis and opinion, hit this playlist. And for all the latest from the Sports Hub, download the app at 985thesportshub.com.